Hello crew! In this week's episode we're gonna talk about how to prepare for an ocean passage in a sailboat. When you think about that, a lot can go right and a lot can go wrong. And we're gonna share some tips on how to make it right.
We are George and Diego. We quit our jobs to renew a tiny 50-year-old sailboat to live on the sea. Once we put ourselves out there, life made its turns and we moved to a more comfortable home, just to lose it a few months later to the biggest hurricane in history. We were already in love with boat life, and as stubborn sailors we are, we didn't give up. 20,000 nautical miles later, here we are in Unforgettable 3, following our dreams half world further from where we started. Subscribe and join our life at sea.
If you are watching this video, probably at some point this crazy idea has crossed your mind. If you think about crossing an ocean, first thing you need is a boat or a sailboat. Important thing here is to have a solid boat. Many people ask either if this boat is good enough or that boat it's good, but you need to have a solid boat that you know well. Knowing the systems, knowing how the different parts work and how they are wired, and knowing the strong points and the weak points of the boat, that's key. 5 key aspects to check on a sailboat before an ocean voyage. Let's start with the hull. You need a solid hull without any osmosis, a nice, preferably long keel and good conditions through hulls. Also, your rudder needs to be very well fit, all the mechanics of the rudder needs to be in place, and also your steering system to be very good. You don't want a failure on this system on an ocean voyage, can be critical and maybe fatal. Masts, a well-maintained mast can last long years, but before an ocean voyage you need a very nice inspection on your mast and on your rigging as well. If you don't know how to do it, if you are unsure how to do it, it's very nice to get professional help.
Today you have someone working on our boat. We requested a rigging check. I thought it was time to give a professional look at the rigging. There's the man on top of the mast.
And also during the voyage you need to keep an eye on that. A mast failure in the middle of nowhere, just like thousands of miles of any land, it can be very dodgy and may lead including to abandoned ship situation or something like that. So eyes on the rigging, and it's never enough to check it again and again and again. Number 4, sails. You need a nice set of sails before your ocean voyage. You need to know your game, and so you can play with the different situations and the sails you have available on board. They don't need to be brand new, but you need to rely on them. Also, I would take a repair sail kit to this voyage as well. So if you have any tear or any problem, you can stitch it back together and at least make landfall, so you can actually make a professional work on your sails.
Na verdade, a vela, né, que rasgou, deu uma estragada nela na travessia.
Number 5. I know we are talking about sailing boats, but the engine, it's very important. Okay, before you engage in an ocean voyage, make a very nice checkup on your engine. Not only the engine, the transmission, and maybe the most important and critical thing, it's the shaft. Where your shaft runs through the propeller, that's a very potential leak place. So you have all this figured out, have all this checked. It's very important. So just to recap, number 1, the hull, number 2, the rudder, number 3, mast and rigging, number 4, sails, number 5, engine and transmission and shaft. Okay, you already have a boat, your boat is looking good, but you need a route. Whenever we talk here about ocean passages, we talk about our own experience, and this is on the tropical belt. You can predict the weather better, it's more smooth, there's no extreme events. On your route, there's a time window, there's a time of the year that will be better, that will be excellent to do this passage. So if you decide your route, either it's across the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indic, whatever, your task, your homework is to go study, okay? Know the best time of the year and know the details of each moment of this passage. Once you get some knowledge, I like to think this passage in my head, just make this trip inside my head, know each part of it. The first day is gonna be like that, the second, third gonna be like that, the last moment's gonna be like that. So you kind of prepare yourself, you kind of simulate all the passage on your head. Okay, you have a sailboat, you have a route, now you need a captain, and I'm assuming that would be you. Sailing long distances, in essence, is not different than sailing short distances, at least in the pure sailing aspect. You need to know how to handle your boat, you need to do how to do the maneuvers, and how to read the ocean, and how to react to the different situations. However, it's just like a sprint runner from a marathon runner, and an ocean passage is a marathon. So big difference here. What changes a lot, it's the mentality. You know that you need to be ready for long days, for long distances, and that takes time, and that time will take a toll on your boat, and you have nobody to help you. So it's really the mentality, okay?
Something important to consider about an ocean crossing is crew. So if you're sailing solo, you don't have to worry about that. But if you are considering having crew on board, what can be really handy, it's important that there are people that trust in you and that you trust in them. In our personal opinion, if you are a skilled sailor, your crew doesn't need to be as experienced as you are. You can just teach them along the way, but just make sure they are willing to learn and that you get along well. I think this is really important. The thing about crew is not only about them, but about yourself too. You also need to be nice to your crew, and when you're used to sail yourself on your boat, sometimes you get some things that you really like only the way you do it, but you need to be flexible when you have crew. A quick tip, something that works nice for us on long passages is to do weekly meetings, or it can be each 4 days, 3 days, wherever you prefer. But just gather the crew and share the topics that you think can be improved, or if anybody's having any issue or what's bothering each one. So you just clear out everything face to face, you know, no dilemmas, and I think this works very well for us. And also always remember to keep the morale high, like to keep the crew motivated. I think this is really important. So the captain needs to be motivated so he can motivate everybody. Para ter uma ideia, o que a gente comprou para 6 pessoas, né? Na verdade 5, mas até Galápagos 6. A gente comprou 10 kg de arroz, 30 kg de massa.
Diversas, né? Entre macarrão,
sim, variadas. A gente comprou 5 kg de lentilha, 4 kg de farinha, 4,5 kg de farinha, uma caixa de leite, muitas latas de tomate pelache, né? Acho que umas 40 latas, para ser sincera. Something a lot of people get really worried or curious about is provisioning. Nobody wanna be starving in the middle of the ocean, so provisioning is key. When I talk about provisioning, I'm talking most about water, food, fuel, and spare parts. Starting with water. Drinking water. This is the most important resource we need on an ocean crossing. So just make sure you have water enough for everybody. Consider how many crew you are taking with you. And you can have a water maker that makes a big difference, but just don't rely only on your water maker because it can break along the way. So make sure you have enough drinking water for the whole passage without a water maker. If you have the water maker, this is extra, perfect. For us, we consider 1.5 liters of water per person per day and also some extra water for the ditch bag. My tip for food is to plan ahead. So try to make a menu for all the days of the crossing. Then you doesn't need to follow this strictly, but just to have an idea to know what to buy. So plan what you're gonna cook, everything you're gonna need for each meal, and when you go to the supermarket, you already know what to buy, and I always buy more than I write on my list, just to make sure we have enough food. A lot of dry food also that's gonna save you in any situation, and when you arrive you still have some food left. So I think in this issue it's better to have more than less. Make sure you stock every corner of your boat with food. And also for every kind of provision, I try to keep very conservative in the first days of the trip, and then when we are halfway to arrive, I start spending more things. So I'm just sure that we're not gonna lack nice things in the end of the trip too. Regarding fuel, just fill all your tanks, and I think it's nice to have some extra jerry cans in case your fuel gets contaminated or get water, or in case you lose full for any reason, so just have it an extra amount in another place. And I think this also works for everything actually, for water and for food. Don't keep everything in the same place in case it gets contaminated or get wet or whatever happens. Just have different places stored, you know, have water in different places. Don't rely only on your water tank, have some water outside the tank, you know. And the last thing I want to talk about provisioning is to have a lot of spare parts on board. This is gonna help you a lot in case something breaks, you can fix it. So some fiberglass repairment kit, some epoxy resin, wood planks, hoses and hose clamps, pumps like your bilge pump. If your bilge pump breaks, you can have an extra pump or a kit to repair it. And a lot of other things also for engine. If you can have a nice engine service kit, well, you can find like a lot of lists on the internet with many ideas, but I think it's really important for everything you think that can break, you have a spare part to fix it. Well, I could talk about provisioning forever because it's something that I really like. So if you would like to know more detail, just let me know in the comments and I can think about making a video only about this topic. And you can also check our video about our Pacific Ocean crossing, where we share all the food and water and things we bought.
Of course, we all want our passages to go smooth and to be all smiles and fun, but the reality is different. So as they say, we need to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. What do you mean when you say prepare for the worst? Well, different situations that we may face when we are sailing. That's a sinking ship, that's fire on board, mast failure, and many other things that can go wrong. What can we do about that? We need to have safety equipment, and that's top priority, okay? And that's you can improvise and you can do a lot of things yourself, but here you need to have everything really figured out and don't cut corners. What kind of safety gear do we have on board Unforgettable? A life raft, okay? A life raft inspected and well maintained in a good condition. That can be the difference of a disaster of a heroic rescue, okay? Of course, we don't want to use it, we never want to pop that thing, but it needs to be there. Your chances to be found on board your life raft improves a lot if you have an EPIRB. It's an emergency beacon that emits signal all over the world, and so a Coast Guard and surrounding vessels can find you, okay? So it's $300-400 and it's worth it, so have one on board. So some countries it's mandatory. Even if you are not on the life raft, if you are adrift on your sailboat, also your EPIRB is your best chance to be found. We also have a ditch bag equipped with lots of survival gear, a nice kit of flares, and another potential hazard, it's fire. So make sure your fire extinguisher are not expired, that you know where to find them and if they are the right type.
Ok, tá rompido o lacre. Então, para um princípio de incêndio, vai se aproximar com cuidado, mão na frente do rosto, e tem que chegar bem perto do incêndio, tá? Bem perto do foco do incêndio, que vai ser ali, ó, aquela tábua em cima da outra tábua. Com cuidado, olha pro fogo e dispara.
All these equipments are useless if you don't know how to use it. So before the voyage, gather your crew and make sure to explain and teach them how to use each equipment in the different situations you plan for. We call this drill. So make this drill before and maybe during the trip to keep everybody sharp. Another very important measure is to have a floating plan. A floating plan, it's where are you departing from, where are you going to, how long you expected to be on a passage, okay? And share this with people you trust, with other sailors, or with some authorities perhaps, and then in an event of an emergency, people will know that you are from here to here, that you depart on this date, you probably would arrive around this date, okay, with a kind of nice margin so people don't freak out if you get late one day. And on top of that, satellite communication device, it's very nice. We have the Garmin inReach, we are super happy. We can text people and get text from people also. We can keep people aware what's going on board Unforgettable, and as an extra we have like a weather forecast.
One aspect that a lot of people don't take as serious as it should be is physical and mental preparation. It's important to make sure you are healthy before a crossing. We like to do some medical checkups and dental checkups before a long crossing, so we don't have a toothache in the middle of the ocean, what I imagine it might be really, really bad. So just make sure you are healthy and try to eat healthy, not drink too much, do some exercise so your body is feeling good before a long crossing. And also your mental preparation. Try to, I know it's not easy because we are nervous, it's a big thing, but just try to take some time to relax and enjoy what's happening, you know. In our Pacific crossing, we slept the day previous to the crossing, we slept in a hotel just to, I don't know, get out a little bit of all the stress, take a good shower and relax. So I think this is also nice that you just try to be not so nervous and so stressed. Mental preparation tip I can give you is focus on nice experiences, on positive experiences that you've heard. When you start preparing, you're gonna research a lot, we're gonna hear a lot of good and bad experiences, but once you are ready, focus on the nice experiences you've heard. If something bad happens, it's gonna happen, but don't start overthinking it before you are crossing, you know? Just keep nice and positive. This is a great advice I can give you.
Alright guys, we talk about these most important topics in our opinion, and again, this doesn't intend to be the ultimate guide on how to cross an ocean, but I hope it can be a very nice starting point if you are considering, if you want to do this someday. Also, as a final tip, I would say embrace the unknown, enjoy this trip, enjoy the ride. Remember, this is not a burden. You're there because you want to, you're there because you fight for it, you fought for it. So enjoy this trip. It's very heavy on the captain. Probably you have like a very poor sleep time. You'll be really tired upon arrival, but it's a fantastic adventure. For me, it's the peak, it's the summit of sailing. It's to cross long distances and take your boat and your crew safely from point A to point B. So I love to make ocean passages, and that's pretty much what keeps me going on a sailboat, and I hope I can do many more and share with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give your thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and consider becoming a patron. Thank you, bye bye.